Welcome, everybody, to the Out of Home Insider Show, a podcast like no other, hosted by the one and only Tim Rowe. Get ready to have some knowledge dropped on you and to be entertained, because nothing's more valuable than food for your brain. So sit back, relax, we're about to dive in as the best industry podcast is about to begin.
Welcome to Out of Home Insider, the loudest voice in out of home. And we've talked about the future of out of home being here. And I think we've got two visitors from the future here today. Pierre, Greg, gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much, Tim.
Happy to be here.
Absolutely. It's a very cool concept, very cool partnership that you guys get going on. But in case folks don't know who you are, let's just go left to right. Greg, tell us a little bit about yourself and about what NYIAX does.
Sure. So I feel like I'm speaking for many people when I say, if I could be from the future after this year, I would gladly be from the future.
Probably wouldn't come back.
That's absolutely right. But I'm Greg Toothaker. I'm the CRO at NYIAX. I've been there for about 3.5 years and been in this crazy thing called digital advertising for about 2 decades. So very much looking forward to today's conversation and appreciate you having us on.
Absolutely. I think you're going to bring unique perspective to the conversation. Pierre, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're coming from today in the world.
Yeah, so I'm CEO of Atedra, and my background is a little bit more digital for about 15, 16 years now, and in the digital out-of-home space for 3-5 years now. So very excited to be here as well.
Awesome. Greg, I'm going to give you this first one. The folks that listen to the show, we've got media executives, we've got agency executives, business development folks from both sides. But for people that maybe aren't familiar, tell us a little bit about what NYIAX does in the out-of-home space.
Yeah, so I think in order to understand the out-of-home space, you have to kind of understand what we do in general. So NYIAX has been around for about 4 years, and ultimately we are a marketplace and a contract compliance platform. So, when we were putting this company together 4 years ago, there were a number of industry challenges that we were looking to solve. Some of those obviously still exist. Things like a lack of transparency, brand safety issues, and fraud issues. Ultimately, that lead to contribute to compliance. Our buyers getting what they pay for when they enter into these contracts with their sell side partners. So that's what we've set out to solve for, and we ended up partnering with NASDAQ, which is the backbone of our technology. So when you look at some of those challenges and also a rapidly evolving regulatory landscape. You look at other, sectors such as the financial sector that have, they've had to deal with those things for a while. So, partnering with someone like a NASDAQ where they have, tried and tested technology that has been solving for those problems for decades. They power 100 plus financial exchanges around the globe, and I think handle 40+% of every electronic trade globally. What better partner to have in order to kind of build that foundation for the technology, and ultimately that's what our product is built on top of. So it's got all the tools that are inherent in needing to comply with that regulatory landscape, and also just kind of your general terms and conditions between buyer and seller.
Which is obviously so important for out of home, and especially I'm sure you've got global business, because problems around the world with out of home, proof of performance. Am I getting the things that I'm actually paying for? What recourse do I have if I don't? I got to imagine that business is pretty good around the globe. Would you say that that's a fair statement?
Yeah, and I think those issues and challenges are really agnostic to the channel, whether it's out of home or digital or connected TV. That message seems to resonate with parties from each of those places.
Absolutely, Pierre. How does that tie into what Atedra does in delivering advertisers to the places that they want to be?
Yeah. So, like I mentioned, the DNA of Atedra is more on the digital side. So I think this really is quite interesting, because when we arrived with the the opportunity, and we were looking at the market, and I go back 5 years, basically in 2015. 2015, we were looking at, what would be the next step for the company and all that. And we had built all those, the full ad tech stack really for programmatic. And then we looked at the digital out-of-home market and we said, this is quite interesting. It's just another screen. So basically it could be just about applying the same and bringing the same best practices that, programmatic had built up to 2015. There's been a lot of things happening in those 7 years, prior to that, and we thought it's just another screen. We'll just add another screen. It's going to be 2 weeks of R&D. We'll be done, adapting all our platforms to programmatic digital out of home. And then 3 years later, I think, is really when we thought, okay, now I think we got it now.
It's that overnight success story, right?
Well, exactly. So at that point, then it turned up to be, because we wanted to bring to digital out of home, like programmatic guaranteed right away. We wanted to bring transparency. We wanted to bring, all that you need, that all those good tools that RTB didn't have at the early ages of 2010s. And so that took a little longer than we thought, but we're quite excited to be where we are now. And this partnership with NYIAX really brings on, an additional layer where exactly you can do stuff that you couldn't do before. And it's the accessibility of the inventory now and the scale of the inventory available today on NYIAX for digital out of home is really impressive. And we're very proud of that.
And right when we think about out of home, it's traditionally been such a fragmented industry. So to be able to consolidate it in a way that we can all buy confidently seems pretty important. How do you see, obviously out of home took a huge step back this year, understandably so. Everyone's stuck inside, et cetera. But we went from really getting close to a $40 billion international market. We took a step back. We expect to recover a lot of ground next year. But how do you think the marketplace has changed permanently from what we've experienced in the last 9 months? It could be technology, process. What do you think's changed forever, Pierre?
Well, for me, I think it's how can I say? I think it's going to be a unique adoption facilitator. I would name it, meaning that I think there was a progression into programmatic digital out of home. The market was definitely embracing it and embracing, the best practices and all that, and the usage of the platforms. I think there's definitely, like you said, been a step back, but this step back will be a game changer for the change that had to happen. And instead of happening in a longer period of time, maybe years, I think that's going to happen right away, as we're seeing now, and budgets are coming back in great scale. And I think the planners are taking advantage of technology now to shift right away into the new era, which is what the NYIAX platform and the Atedra partnership enables.
Yeah, I talked to a head of one of the big out-of-home agencies recently, and they have 10 people that they're training just on programmatic buying. Even though they don't account for it making up a ton in the way of revenue, but they're dedicating resources now for that long-term build-out. Greg, how do you see the adoption coming from the buy side for a platform, for a medium like out of home? How has that changed?
Yeah, the appetite is I think as strong as ever. Again, this is somewhat new territory for us at NYIAX, exciting new territory. But certainly, when we talk to our buy side partners, they're looking for unique supply opportunities ultimately, and certainly, Atedra is one of the companies that brings those to market. So that's what we're excited about, and just getting the awareness and the word out there that those types of opportunities are available on our marketplace. The other thing that I'll mention, just in terms of, answering your earlier question, I wanted to answer it from a consumer point of view, because I think, out of home, to me, even during this crazy year with the pandemic, we got involved in an industry initiative called AdTech Cares, which was essentially started by a conglomerate of ad tech companies, as well as some others in the media space. But it was supporting just kind of COVID education and awareness, and kind of also evolved into addressing some of the social justice issues that we've obviously heard a lot about this year. And a couple of the out-of-home companies participated in that and continue to do so. And even when I do get out of the house now, to me, out-of-home is still one of the most impactful channels that there is. When I see those types of messages up, on those billboards and digital billboards, to me, there's nothing more impactful than those types of opportunities. So we're excited to bring those to our buy-side clients.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Rick Robinson is famous for saying it's the people's space, right? Yeah. It's where we all congregate. It's where we all have that shared experience. It matters. Like, it really does matter. When you say unique inventory, that indicates to me that maybe they're not thinking about digital out of home on like a pure performance marketer basis, right? I'm thinking about how it complements my big brand campaign. Would you say that's a fair summation, or do you think that there's some performance marketers who maybe are screen agnostic, and they want to drive a certain result? Are you seeing a mix of that?
Yeah, I think there is a mix of that. I will say, from what we see on the NYIAX platform, we tend to play more in the space where, our buyers are looking to lock up those types of opportunities. They don't want to leave to chance that they may or may not get through maybe some of the programmatic open marketplace channels. These are opportunities that they know are critical to whatever those campaign goals are, and they want to be 100% sure that those are locked up and reserved in a way that they can do through our platform.
Yeah, that makes sense. So how do brands come to work with you, or what's the right relationship, partnership wise, for you guys?
Yeah, we on the buy side, we've really focused a lot of our attention on obviously the major holding companies and larger independent agencies, but certainly, we feel as though our value proposition is relevant for companies of any size. So we've kind of gotten in the door at some of the holding companies and are slowly building that awareness through those organizations and driving adoption of the platform.
Yeah, it's great to hear. I was honestly, before having this conversation, I didn't know that this was even available as an option. Do you hear that often as you guys have put this partnership together, that I didn't even know that this existed? Pierre, care to take that one?
Been hearing that for 2 years, every day, really, and that's the mostly of the excitement there is to be, because it's happening all the time, and we're still in this amazing sharing of the information part, where yes, it's available now, and scale is available as well right away. It's available now. What maybe was a challenge 2-3 years ago is no more. So there's definitely lots of great things and happening, and you're helping a lot with hosting this today, because we want to make everyone aware of this and what opportunities that there are with this platform, but as an industry as well. We've been working really hard, and every player in the industry has been working really hard on sharing and helping each other bring this great news event of new era in the digital out of home.
Right. So, and to crystallize it, and guys, stop me if I'm off base here, but here's a platform that you can confidently, assuredly buy the space that matters to your campaign through, all the way through, right? It's just that, we've never had to worry about it in digital marketing, because if I'm buying something from Google's it's all Google, right? I've got one singular place to transact that. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, I would say that's a fair interpretation. I would add to that not only can you buy it, but you can do so in a much more efficient and automated fashion than maybe traditional methods. And I think that's something, certainly this year, when people are busier than ever, is really important to them, is working efficiently as much as they are, intelligently. So, it's interesting, bringing up what we're talking about, awareness. When you get into the different levels of an organization, I'll use the agencies and the holding companies, but certainly some of the more operational teams. Mm-hmm. I mean, you realize just how inundated and how busy they are. So to expect them to kind of, in what little free time they have, go out and try to do, find out what solutions are out there is probably unrealistic. So when you talk to them and see some of the issues that they're dealing with, and, you see their faces when you say, we actually have a solution to that. We can automate, 80% of that for you. That's really the rewarding part about what we do.
Yeah, no, that's exciting. Pierre, for there's lots of media owners that tune into the show. What does Atedra offer that maybe, another programmatic DSP doesn't?
Well, I think, what, like I said, the best practices and bringing already the right tools and the right systems, but mainly, for me, what's a key point and component is transparency, because it's been such a challenge with the real-time bidding, market. But the market has evolved and has brought apart, solutions for those. And still today, I think there's some things that are happening that are helping transparency. Media owners need to have confidence into programmatic digital out of home in general. And I think Atedra has been really focused on bringing those tools and systems in place and bringing those solutions together to facilitate and to make sure that everyone's aware of what's happening, and that operators, and specifically operators, to your question, understand what's going on and what's happening and who and where and how much, and all that is very easy for them to understand, so they can remain in control and stay in control of everything that's happening, especially with programmatic guaranteed mode. But in general, that's, I think, it's been a big focus for us, for operators.
Yeah, and listen, I mean, who doesn't want to sell more? We've got we don't have a inventory shortage. To put it nicely, we know that we could sell more. Are there ways to use or to leverage this type of partnership at the local level, knowing that we still drive a lot of sales locally? Are there ways for media owners to take advantage of this at a local level as well?
Yeah, certainly from a platform perspective, we support that. You can filter our market as a buyer by pretty much any method you'd like, but certainly geography is one of those, going down to the hyper local level. So certainly we support that, because we know how critical that can be to, depending on your campaign goals.
Yeah, no, that's great to hear. And just, always have my seller's hat on. So I'm thinking of more ways to sell more stuff. Greg, let me ask you, this is off topic, but are you a podcast guy? You read books? Where do you go for motivation, inspiration, education?
You mentioned in the pre-show a little bit about Joe Rogan. So certainly I listen to him.
Yeah.
It's fascinating to me how that area has blown up. When you look at, obviously, the contract he signed, it's pretty.
Spotify, listen, I'm not going to cost $100 million, but
right. You'll
I do have the fastest growing podcast in out of home. Also, like the only one. So you're a podcaster, Pierre. How about you? Same question.
Information is critical. So I like to listen and watch as much as I can every day. I just can't have enough.
No, I'm going to say I keep I don't know where they are now, here they are. I keep the AirPods. Whenever I'm in between calls, I'll just stop, play the podcast. It'll take me 10 hours to finish a half an hour, but yeah, same thing, just always ingesting more information. All right, here's the bonus question. Neither of you can answer that it's this partnership. Pierre, what are you most excited about going into 2021?
I think, the industry, the market, the advertising world is changing so much. It's changed so much. And what I'm very excited about is having this change happen. Yes, for publishers, yes, for advertisers, but for the end users as well. More transparency, more clarity, and more reassurance of understanding what's happening. I think this is really something that's going to be big for the 2020s and especially for 2021.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's been fun over the course of a year or so of having started the show that to have conversations about here's how out of home makes the rest of your stuff work better. Like here's ways to intelligently measure whether or not it's having an effect. We're definitely coming into a very cool time. I think folks are maybe a little bit oversaturated or just tired, just want to try something other than stuff online. And Greg, to your point earlier, out of home's a really fun format.
Yeah, it is.
So again, same disclaimer, can't use the partnership. What are you most excited about, Greg?
Is it fair to say for 2020 to be over?
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
But, I think, anytime we go through a difficult time such as we have this year, I think it kind of forces folks to go back to the fundamentals, and Pierre mentions transparency, and, there are certainly others that we operate by. And I think, that is very much in line with our mission at NYIAX is using those fundamentals. And I think I'm also excited, I mentioned like some of the other initiatives, to support things like social justice. And I think there's also this sense of carrying ourselves with integrity throughout the landscape. So I'm excited to see that too, and just how, companies are working together to solve these challenges, whether they're cultural or more directly, associated with what we do every day from a professional standpoint. But that really excites me about 21.
Yeah, I'm excited about the same. Once upon a time, I was in the Marine Corps, and our senior drill instructor always said, do the right thing, right? That's important, but do the right thing even when no one's watching. And I'm in on the integrity culture idea. Gentlemen, this has been a lot of fun, and I'm sure a lot of folks are going to have questions. So, Pierre, where should people find you?
LinkedIn or my email, pafradet@atedra.com. Call me, email me, write me. I'm available for sure.
We'll make sure they get in touch. I'll put all that stuff down below. Greg, where should people find you?
I'm here, certainly LinkedIn, gtoothaker@NYIAX.com. There aren't that many Greg Toothakers out there, so you won't have a hard time.
It's really his last name. It's Toothaker. We waited till the end because I didn't want to butcher it in the intro. But gentlemen, thanks so much. If you found this helpful, please share it with somebody else who could benefit. As always, the best way to help the show is smash that subscribe button down below there in the corner. Until next time, we'll see you guys.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you, Tim.